Nigeria stand up, Nigeria stand up. Join me say, yeah. What a great nation. Oh, 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 yeah. Yeah. If I told you how I came this far and all the things that I've been through, need I tell you that I've been to hell? I've seen it all and done it all. Growing up as a child. Here we stand as a people with one song, with one voice, we're a nation undivided and poised. We will take a stand and build our land in faith to defend what is ours. Here we are as a people with one heart for one cause. We're determined to rebuild and restore.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we be upstanding as we recognize the presence of our special guest and chairman for today's event, the distinguished Senator Pius Ayim, JCON, former Senate President, former Secretary to the Federation. Can we please put our hands together and welcome him as he joins us this morning? You're very welcome, sir. I think we should just do the needful. And a very early star of science and technology, Grace Akpe.
Different tribes, different tongues, we're united to uphold the honor of our land and for generations to come. And for generations to come.
To chart a new course. The work was done. But there were much more than the public got to know. And colleague, Mr. Sam Akpe, and our partner in this project, the next edition, I formally welcome you to this event. At the end of the proceedings, Sam will do the appropriate thank you. But for now, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome.
Then you invite him to speak. And within that period, I learned so many things, one of which was how to speak within 2 minutes, no matter the subject matter. And I do remember that when we inaugurated the conference, I made the opening speech to introduce the president, and it was for 2 minutes. So let me say today that I am not sharing this very important occasion in my personal capacity. I am simply representing Mr. President, which means Mr. President is going to speak, and so I must not be heard. It is much more so because the president has a written speech which he asked me to deliver. But the only thing I need to address it in my book titled My Transition Hours. The concern has continued to reoccur. However, since this is the first major public event on the 2014 confab after I left office, I feel obliged to offer further explanation on my thoughts on the conference. The essence of the 2014 conference was to encourage a healthy conversation among the populace, address the queries agitating their minds, the minds of Nigerians, and mend fences where possible. We are singing discordant tones on the state of the nation and future of the country. The widening fault lines posed a clear threat to the stability and existence of our dear nation. In responding to the yearnings of the people, my administration inaugurated the conference to provide the opportunity for Nigerians to discuss their issues and agree on the way forward. My message to the conference was very clear, that they could discuss everything save for the sovereignty of our great country, Nigeria. I believe, like most Nigerians, that we are better off as one united country. The ethnic diversity and population of our great country can be deployed to enhance our economic development and our relevance in the global scheme of things. On the contrary, disintegration into smaller fragments will diminish the status of our people and their standing in the world. As a show of concern and demonstration of goodwill of our administration, my charge to the conference was to discuss matters comprehensively and exhaustively before agreeing on a common point. But that to implement the confab report, a number of alterations will be made. That your parliament is under that kind of situation. It would have been imprudent on my part to take such a precious document, which I consider as crucial to our development yearnings, to a parliamentary consideration. If we had a task that would require the alteration of the Constitution, enactment of new laws, and amendment of some existing ones, there was no way that could have been done overnight. We were also fully aware that for the segment of our population that were already suspicious of all the actions of government, our intentions could have been misread, especially against the backdrop of the ECOWAS Protocol on constitutional reforms, which states that no substantial modification shall be made to the electoral laws of member states in the last 6 months before election. When I contested the 2015 elections, my expectations were that I would win a second term, within which period I would have worked for the implementation of the confab report. I felt that within the next 4 years mandate, my first 2 years would have been dedicated to implementing a reasonable part of the recommendations. If we take politics out of our national calculations, we would all agree that with a fresh government, it would have been easier to achieve the implementation of the report. One of the problems of this country is that we like playing politics with things that have very much to do with national interest. We play politics with our security, we play politics with our economy, we play politics with almost everything. That definitely is not the way to go if we must make progress in realizing our national aspirations and national goals. May God bless the soul of Justice Idris Kutigi, chairman of the conference, who died in 2018. However, the vice chairman, Professor Bolaji Akiyemi, and other members who are still alive can testify that I never interfered with any decision of the conference. I can recall a particular incident when the chairman and his vice approached me for guidance on a pressing matter before them, but I bluntly told them to figure it out themselves. I reminded them that apart from the representations of the youth, representatives of the youth, the members of the conference, up to 60% of them were older and even more experienced than myself. I encouraged them to deploy their vast experiences to execute the assignment without interference. In closing, I implored our citizens to realize that the 2014 conference was neither about me nor my administration, neither about me nor what my administration stood to gain from it. I plead with Nigerians not to play politics with the 2014 conference report. I believe that at the appropriate time, the country, through a dedicated parliament, will do the right thing. And the right thing is to duly and dispassionately consider the report of the conference with a view to implementing the recommendations for the good of our country. I thank you all.
Thank you, sir. You obviously read it well. They clapped, sir. Like you said, if I read it well, please applaud me. They are not bearing with you, sir. Can we please celebrate Mr. President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan? The speech we just heard, ably delivered by our distinguished Senator, Ayim Pius Ayim, who is representing him today. He said this is the first public event on the 2014 National Conference. This is the first one, and you are in it. We're better off as a nation. He gave them what to say, what to do, but do not touch the unity. When you have a nation as heterogeneous as ours, as I dare say polarized as ours, it is not easy to steer the affair of the country. But from every word you've read there, you see a genuine interest to make a difference. We could have worked on it, but report was submitted when? August. Election was February. And I do remember very well, sir, when the former speaker did not just move, it was a mass movement, and then they went on recess immediately. So it was almost impossible to get anything done. Ladies and gentlemen, can we please put our hands together for Mr. Chairman once again? And now to review the book, let us make welcome someone whose primary interest is research. He has done it so well, he has become a professor at it. And he does not just do research, he does research on intergroup relations and public diplomatic issues. Ladies and gentlemen, our book reviewer for today is with us in the house. Can we please put our hands together as we welcome Professor Philip Afaga? Can we please celebrate him? Thank you so much, sir. I thought you were still clapping. Thank you. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, President Goodluck Jonathan, ably represented by His Excellency, Senator Pius Ayim, former President of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, former Secretary to the Government of the Federation. I want to also greet respectfully the senior citizens on the high table, and I want to also greet our distinguished guests on the other high table. Review of the national conversation, interests and intrigues that shape the 2014 National Conference. The amalgamation of 1914 by Lord Lugard brought the northern and southern protectorates of Nigeria together. But the 2014 National Conference can be said to be the first genuine attempt at bringing together the peoples of Nigeria to provide solutions to their country's fault lines. Although the 2014 exercise was not the first time Nigerians gathered to dialogue about their country, it is widely believed to have been the closest Nigeria came to resolving the problems of our nationhood. The 2014 National Conference was historic in many aspects. It was the most successful national conference since independence in 1960. Despite its shortcomings, the conference brought together a team of rivals, as in the case of Abraham Lincoln. Two veteran journalists, Akpandem James and Sam Akpe, who saw action in the conference, decided to put their inks to paper. And that endeavor is what brought us here today. The book, The National Conversation, Interests and Intrigues That Shaped the 2014 National Conference, was conceived to put on record for posterity why President Goodluck Jonathan braced the odds to convene the conference. Cast in 633 pages, 23 chapters, published in 2022 by Wordsworth Limited, the National Conversation comes with a silhouette picture of the 2014 conference at its cover design. The book is a reader's companion, as it conveys, according to Professor Bolaji Akinjemi, who wrote its foreword, quote, a deep insight of not just what the conference was about or why it was called, but what actually happened that were not on public display, unquote. It comes complete with an appendix containing the list of delegates by classification and regions, list of committees by responsibilities and membership, list of women, delegates who died during the conference, president's speeches during the inauguration and closing ceremony, and chairman's speeches at the inauguration and submission of the conference report. According to the authors, the 2014 National Conference almost ended before it started. That means there were so many intrigues bordering on ethnic, religious, and political blocks as usual. Most of these intrigues escaped public notice because even the most diligent mainstream media operators could not capture them. Such intrigues needed to be captured and preserved so that we can learn our lessons as a nation. Written in descriptive prose, the National Conversation chronicles the historic dialogue whose aim, according to Professor Akinyemi, deputy chair of the conference, was to realistically examine, to genuinely resolve long-standing hurdles to national cohesion and harmonious development, unquote. Whether this was achieved to the satisfaction of all sections of the country or not is a matter in the public domain. The focus of this book, however, is how certain factors and their complex interrelations help shape the conference outcomes, regardless of which you agree with. The writers wanted a book that was reader-friendly, not too bulky, as you can see, but deep enough to convey their message. Akpandem James and Sam Akpe, therefore, translated their conference memoirs into three distinct but related sections, namely, build-up analysis, issues that shape the conference, and critical governance issues. Section 1, build-up and analysis, has 3 chapters. It provides answers to the query as to whether the conference was necessary in the first place. There are many reasons that can be adduced for this, but chief among them is the question of implementation of the critical, if substantial resolutions post-conference. Nigeria has had similar national conferences, but the implementation of key conference considerations and resolutions have lagged behind the enthusiasm that initiated the conferences. Nigeria is a country in which, quote, national resolutions are viewed and evaluated through sectional lenses prior to implementation. The term marginalization is therefore a star boy of our socio-political, cultural national lexicon. Because having nationally resolved to, why should a sectional interest impede the journey of such a national assignment is perplexing, but subject of another book. However, as it will be seen in the book, the 2014 National Conference resolutions suffered the same fate as was envisaged by its skeptics. Nigeria was at the threshold of another general election, and many, particularly political opponents, saw it as a campaign strategy by the Jonathan administration, because even though it was necessary, if it became eventually successful, it will politically benefit the president. That was the thinking. There were other direct pre-conference hurdles. For instance, the nomenclature of the conference itself, whether it should be national dialogue, national conference, sovereign people's conference, or sovereign national conference. Others include the cost, delicate selection, timing, and other contingencies. The conference took off on the 3rd March 2014 with a prime mission to, quote, engage in intense introspection about the political and socio-economic challenges confronting Nigeria, and to chart the best and most acceptable way for the resolution of such challenges in the collective interest of all the constituent parts of the country, unquote. These issues include the Constitution, issues addressed by past conferences, form and structure of government, devolution of powers, revenue and resource control, state police, local government and state creation, etc. But the oneness and indivisibility of Nigeria was not under discussion. Section 2 has 8 chapters and focuses on the dramatis personae and the issues that shape the conference. It also highlights on the background, composition, and representation of the conference delegates as compared to the American Constitutional Convention. Next was women at the conference. Conference rules, procedures, voting, and the 50 Wise Men Committee, consensus group, conference committees, and the extracurricular activities, so to say, that form part of the conference. Even if humorous, in this, you will know Mama Market, Mama Diaspora, and Mama Gombe, a woman who eminently qualifies as the mother of the nation for the role she played during the national conference. Section 3, which is the largest with 12 chapters, deals with critical issues that triggered the conference ab initio. Those issues include 1, devolution of power and the issue of resource control. 2, politics and governance of a beleaguered entity. 3, political parties and electoral matters. 4, national security. A critical governance subject matter. 5, religion. Much ado about nothing. 6, immunity clause. To be or not to be. 7, give us this day our state police. 8, the craze and crave for state creation. 9, contentions, land use act, and boundary issues. 10, cattle roads taken, and what the decisions were. What Akpandem, James, and Sam Akpe did not interrogate in their book, which every Nigerian itches to unravel, is why the resolution of this 2014 National Conference were never implemented. There are two stark realities as one flips through these pages. Nigeria knows her problems, but lacks the will to resolve them. The second is that constant conversations remains the only savior for our nationhood. In addition to its numerous advantages, the national conversation is a loud reminder that Nigerians must keep talking, not at themselves, as we have now, but to and with themselves. The national conversation must continue respectfully. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I believe we can do better. Can we give him another resounding applause for that very brief yet compact review? You don't just stay in a couple of minutes and condense for understanding a 333 pages book. Okay. 23 chapters and 3 sections. I saw the reaction when you talked about the 50 wise men committee. Somebody was asking, are you one of them? Okay, I won't say anything. I know we have some delegates in the house. We'll soon find out which one of them was a member of the wise men committee. You said the decision reached, how they were reached, why they were reached. You will find in that book. The only part, he said, they did not interrogate, I believe Mr. President spoke to when he was here. Can we please put our hands together for him one more time? At this time, I'd like to quickly jump to some goodwill messages. I have been told we need to finish this in another 30 minutes. The conveners are very respectful of our time. We know it's a Tuesday and we want to get this over and done with quickly. I'm going to respectfully ask some persons to come forward for a goodwill message before the book is officially presented. But before I do that, I'd like to recognize the presence of Honorable Sam Chinedu Onwaso, a member House of Reps representing Awka North and South Federal Constituency. He's actually here representing Chief Ben Ndeobi. Can we please put our hands together for him? Thank you very much. Honorable Nicon Omana, member House of Representatives, is also here. Can we please recognize his presence? Thank you for being here. Please, thank you, sir, for standing up for recognition. Now, do please join me and welcome for his brief goodwill message, Dr. Akilu Ndaboa. Can we please welcome him for his brief goodwill message? Mr. President and Mr. Chairman told me earlier, he needs to come up the high table. He was there, part of those who midwifed the process. Welcome, sir.
Mr. Chairman of the occasion, President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, ably represented by His Excellency, Senator Anyim Faiz Anyim, the former President of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, former Secretary to the government, distinguished members of the higher table, and members of the high table. Good morning. Good afternoon. My task is simple. I want to appreciate the very bold efforts and initiatives of the two authors, particularly my brother and friend, James Akpandem. James was a very critical partner in delivering the national conference. His office was in charge of the media and publicity of the conference. And I can testify how very efficiently and effectively he brought the proceedings and everything pertaining to that conference to the public view in a very professional way. I want to congratulate James for very for an excellent and professional work at that conference, and more importantly, for documenting his own version of what he and his co-author considered to be the interests and the intrigues that shaped that conference. But in doing so, I want to pay special tribute to my leader, my boss, President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, whose very patriotic stand on national issues and very objective way of handling them actually led to the conception and delivery of the conference itself. We recall in his national broadcast celebrating 100 years of Nigeria's existence, October 1st, 2013, he kickstarted the process by announcing the establishment of a committee on national dialogue, which was headed by Senator Okuromu and my humble self as the secretary. That was the beginning. And that committee, we call Committee on Presidential Advisory Committee on National Dialogue. That was the first initiative that led to the national conference. It was that committee that worked out the framework for the conference itself. Some of us participated in the work of that committee, and we went around the whole country to interact with stakeholders, critical stakeholders, on issues of national dialogue and came up with recommendations to government. Our recommendations are subjected to very close scrutiny. One of the recommendations that actually shaped the composition of the conference still remains so fresh in my mind. His Excellency, the chairman, who was then the SGF, was the main facilitator of everything to do with national dialogue and eventually the national conference. The Committee on National Dialogue, led by Senator Okuromu, we recommended a conference to be made up of 360 members, equivalent to the number of members at the House of Reps. And we thought for them to have legitimacy, they need to be elected. But we're not unaware of side questions that will come up with elections of delegates into the conference. Nonetheless, elections would cost government substantial amount of money, which at that time government could not afford because it ran into billions. And so that was how the idea of getting critical stakeholders from all aspects and sectors of this country came up. Eventually we had 492 delegates with a few additions here and there. But one important point, which Mr. President, every represented, had made, was his statesman-like manner of handling the affairs of the conference. First, among 6 of us that constituted the Conference Management Committee, I was the only one that the President actually has contact with. I was the only one the President knew. I was the only person that has any link whatsoever with the President, the SGF, and the government. But I can testify on my honor before man and God. There was no time either President Jonathan or SGF Senator Anyim ever tried to influence anything at that conference. One incident that I recall, I'm sorry I'm taking your time, but these are important because they are part of the intrigues. One incident that I recall was when a prominent leader, whose name I am not ready to disclose here, tried to drop the name of the president. Justice Kutigi of blessed memory called me, said, well, you are the president's man here. And this is what this leader is saying, that the president directed this and that. But although I have not interacted with the president in any way, I can bet if the president actually directed that so and so should be done. Can you please find out? There and then I said, well, Mr. Chairman, I'm grateful you are able to understand how my boss works and his strength of mind. I can confirm to you, even before speaking to him, that that leader is on his own. The first thing I did was to conduct the main facilitator of the conference of government, His Excellency, the SGF. He just laughed. He said, well, you know your man now. The man cannot do that. Please don't even talk to him about it. It's not possible. Besides that, I reached out to President Jonathan. When I saw
and the existence of this country and critical issues. And I specifically made a recommendation in that write-up, that in that memo, that they should take up the 2014 conference report and examine the issues that have become more urgent for us to examine if we will be able to bring down the tension in the country. That memo was forwarded by the authorities to the Minister of Special Duties, Senator George Akume. I've had several meetings on it, but nothing.
You are our great ambassador. You went to the conference, you did well on our behalf. I came back, you put something together. We've always told our members, please document your experience for prosperity. Akpandem had done this today, and we are proud of him as a member of the guild. On behalf of the guild, we are going to send something to you through our treasurer before the end of today. Let me not announce the figure. You know, we are not delegates, either to PDP or APC convention, so we don't have dollar and we don't have naira, but we have something. Thank you so much.
Nigerian Guild of Editors, President there. Can we celebrate him one more time? Thank you so much. Also for his goodwill, for her goodwill message. I did say he is because he's presenting Chief James Onanefebori. Please welcome for our goodwill message, former Minister of Science and Technology, Grace Akpe. Can we please celebrate her?
Very much. The chairman of this occasion, His Excellency Chief Jonathan Ebele Jonathan, ably represented by former President of the Senate, Ayim Pius Ayim. Please, at this point, permit me to stand on existing protocol. As you have been told, I'm representing His Excellency Chief James Onanefebori, former Governor of Delta State. He called to represent him at this occasion. He sent his apologies that he would have liked to be personally here.
For the service to Nigeria they are doing, especially at this moment, James Akpandem and Sam Akpe, one of the best that we have in Nigeria, to put pen to paper to document this historical activity that happened in our country at a time when there is need to discuss
our togetherness, our oneness. In fact, discuss whether we should be together or not. I am proud of this. These my young friends. You know, I'm 60 now, so I'm proud of them. I like to be associated with them because I've done this related for over 20 years now. I should have been here earlier and even sat with the chairman because this is like my activity. But to encourage the work they have done, these are impecunious journalists, self-propelled. I will take 3 copies of this book at 3 million naira.
Thank you, Mr. President. The authors are my good friends and my brothers. Anybody that's published a book will know what it is, either this kind of book or your own personal experience. They have done well. I join others to congratulate them and also to buy 2 copies for my library. I have library too, a sum of 500,000.
Thank you very much. I want to send humble regards from distinguished Senator Ben Ndiobi, on whose behalf I am here. He is unavoidably absent, somewhere doing the work to unite the nation. And on his behalf, I'm taking the book. I know he will send his message to the authors. For my own library, I will be launching this with 150,000 naira. Thank you.
What kind of stars it?
Thank you, sir. He's still, the job continues. Should I give you a hand, ma'am? Oh, yeah.
Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I can say at this point, we have finished with the high table, and we are now coming to the higher table. Please, if anybody by your own volition, you think you need to say anything, the mic is available, the floor is open. Okay. I am just told that the representative of Senator David Mark is here. Is it true? Yes. What have you been doing there? Please, you need the microphone.
His Excellency, the former President of the Senate and a leader of our party, Dr. Akilu Ndaba, the principal, Bob Effiong, Senator, Prof, Madam, thank you very much for this opportunity. The President, the former President.
Yes, hello. No, I'm not calling you caller. Hello, any other person who wants to speak? Any other goodwill message from the floor?
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm so honored to be here. I'm representing my brother, who is the former vice chairman of ExxonMobil, Mr. Dominoyo. He asked me to pick up 2 copies of this book for the sum of 200,000, and I will not walk away without having a copy. I'll pick one for 50,000. Thank you.
Good. Any other person? You will have it right away. Any other person?
Well, it's to congratulate my brother.
Well, I know that
Akpandem James.
the MC has...
And his colleague, Akpe, for a wonderful piece of work. I wish to contribute 50,000 naira.
No, it wouldn't be a contribution. We will give you a book for it. Any other person? Yes, sir.
All protocol observed. My name is Nicon. My senior is seated there, Senator Effiong Bob. We attended the same secondary school. And the author Akpandem were classmates. We sat in the same class from class 1 to class 5. And probably a school may not be seen on the map, but it's 20 miles to Oron and 7 miles to Iket. And what he has done is because of a little impact of the English teacher we had. One Mr. Okebu that taught Mr. Senator Bob on behalf of the students who went through that teacher, who had been impacted by that teacher. And for our school, hit there, but I've met senators and I've met people in government.
Oga, please just hit the point.
I will get a copy of the book for 25,000.
Now, ushers, please make sure that everybody is able to get a copy of this book at the cover price. Are you with me? So, what is the cover price? How much? The cover price of the book is 10,000 naira. And I think nobody should leave this place without a cover of the book. Now, before I hand over to the MC to make further announcements, let me also say that my earlier remarks was in my representative capacity for Mr. President, who did not ask me to make any commitment with respect to the launching. But I believe that he will have opportunity to again meet with the writers of the book, and whatever support he's supposed to provide for them, he will certainly do so. Let me again say on my own behalf that I am proud actually to be part of this event. One, because the National Conference of 2014 was one of the most outstanding achievements of the administration of President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, for which I was one. And I do know that when we were organizing the conference, like Dr. Ndabawa said, it was painstaking. In fact, it was organized by our government, it was facilitated by our government, but it was actually organized by the Nigerian people. To agree on the name of the confab, the composition of the confab, the structure of the confab, the theme of the confab, a prior committee was set up to go around the country, harvest opinion, and articulate it before the conference was set up. And I want to say that I am happy that Dr. Ndabawa had testified that there was no interference from the government whatsoever. In fact, immediately they were set up, the president called me and clearly told me that I must make sure that nobody, not myself, not anybody, not himself, interfere with the workings of the conference. And strictly, we adhered to that. So today, whether the report is implemented or not, the thoughts of Nigerians had been documented. So it may not have been implemented by that administration, it may not have been implemented by this administration, but the records are there. One day, the records will be useful. So let me say that I am deeply, deeply honored to be here, and I congratulate the authors of this book, who again had brought up this matter of the National Conference to limelight. And in order to encourage them, I need to support my friends who had also done something in this regard. I'll take 5 copies for 1 million naira.
Thank you very much, sir. Our chairman is a chairman indeed, my boss for the day. Can we please put our hands together for him? He just told us he's taking 5 copies. You heard the sum of 5 million naira. We have so appreciated the book. We have been told the cover price for the book is 10,000 naira. I'm going to ask that you please make sure you do not leave this hall without a copy. Make sure you leave the hall with a copy of the book. It will do you good and do your history well to have one of it in your library. I will definitely have one in my library. Thank you very much. At this point, sir, the next item at the agenda is actually the chairman's closing remark. You see, all in one, the chairman's closing remark. Can we please put our hands together for him one more time? I like bosses like this. Now for a quick vote of thanks, ladies and gentlemen, can we please welcome one of the authors, a veteran journalist, of course, Mr. Sam Akpe. Please put your hands together for him as he comes forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, representing Mr. President, we thank you so much for finding time to be here with us. I recall the day we came to your office and you warmly received us and appreciated this book, and you also made it possible for us to be able to have audience with the former president that you are representing today. We want to say thank you and thank you and thank you so much in making sure the 2014 National Conference was a huge success. Thank you and God bless you. For every other member of the high table, we want to thank you. In particular, Senator Effiong Bob has been so helpful in making sure that this book left the laptops where we prepared it to the printing press, and today is being presented here. Thank you so much. I thank you for coming this afternoon. Despite the fact that we have overstayed here, you have been patient with us. God bless all of you. And for every member of this beautiful audience, including my pastor, Dr. Kafia, who had to come in all the way from Akwa Ibom State, we want to say thank you for being here with the third term saga. Well, that's a good idea. Don't worry, very soon you will hear from me. God bless you. Have a safe trip back home. Thank you.
He's actually in the hall. Sorry this is coming late, but we do like to recognize the fact that you've been in the hall. Thank you so much. Can we please put our hands together for him? My name is Rita Onome Ewujo. It has been a real delight and honor to work with my boss and chairman for today and be the director of ceremony for this event. Thank you all for being here. Shall we now stand up for the national anthem?
Many people, different tribes, different tongues, we're united in our strength and resolve to uphold the honor of our land and for generations to come. And for generations to come.